Jesus is offering us an invitation. It may seem odd at first as he states that whoever desires to follow him must pick up their cross and deny themselves. Today we're going to learn how Jesus invites us into living a life by dying. If you have a Bible, you can either turn there or just listen to Mark chapter 8, and we're going to be at verse 34. And calling the crowd to him with his disciples, he said to them, "If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it. But whoever loses his life for my sake and the gospel's will save it. For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and forfeit his soul? For what can a man give in return for his soul? For whoever is ashamed of me and the words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him the Son of Man will also be ashamed when he comes in the glory of the Father with the holy angels." In this culture, the cross symbolized shame, sacrifice, and death. And in a culture of hedonism, Jesus tells his disciples that they are to deny themselves. And by extension, you and I, as disciples of Jesus, are called to live this cross-centered life. That is, to pick up our cross and to deny ourselves so that we truly get life. Why in the world would we do such a thing? Well, Jesus gives us 3 reasons to deny ourselves, pick up our cross, and follow Jesus. In verses 35 to 38, he starts explaining himself, and you'll notice 4 fours. Verse 35, for whoever would save his life. Verse 36, for what does it profit a man? Verse 37, for what can a man give? And verse 38, for whoever is ashamed of me. These 4 fours are explainers, they're motivators, they're reasons why we should do this make this radical decision to live a cross-centered life. First, save your life in verse 35. Jesus says, whoever would try to save his life will end up losing their lives. That is, when we are so consumed with this life, we end up losing out. Our aim is not to try to grasp on to the here and now, but to root ourselves in something, or better said, someone who is eternal. Jesus defines how this is done in the next phrase of this verse. It's when we sacrifice our own lives and ambitions for Christ and his gospel that we save our own life. This, my friends, is the difference between existing and living. You see, we could just exist in this world trying to get more success, fame, and status, or we could truly live by showing the fame, success, and status of Jesus, the person and work of Jesus. The choice, my friends, is yours. Reason number 2, we see in verse 36 and 37, to save your soul. The imagery could not be more captivating. You could either inherit the entire world. I don't know what you're into. Maybe you love resorts. You just picture an unlimited pass to Hawaii and the Bahamas year round. All the food, desire, and pleasure you can experience right at your fingertips. The only catch is you have to forfeit your soul. This is a helpful verse just to stop and think about seriously. What gifts from God are you perhaps clinging on to a little bit too much? Gifts are to be enjoyed by God, from God, but never idolized. The investment, my friends, is never worth it. Our souls are eternal and we will enjoy his presence forever. And so it's helpful to remind ourselves, whether it's our difficulties, our successes, our vacations, those are all temporary. God is eternal. Third motivation is save your shame. It's so easy to slide into this mentality that God's truth is embarrassing. Jesus is the only way, John chapter 14, verse 6. Sex being confined to a man and a woman in the context of marriage where there's love and loyalty. In such an adulterous and sinful generation, it's easy to downplay these truths. But Jesus says very directly in this passage in verse 38 that if we're ashamed of his words, when he comes with all the glory of the Father, he will be ashamed of us. So, my friends, following Jesus is difficult. In fact, brothers and sisters, it is impossible without the very Holy Spirit of God supernaturally empowering us. But my friends, it is worth it. Jesus knows what this cross-centered life is all about. You see, he gave up his own life at the cross so that we can experience life. When he was tempted by the devil, what did he do? He denied himself all the kingdoms of the world. And yes, he experienced shame upon the cross in order for you and I to get the blessing and glory that we do not deserve. Come, and I invite you to live this life, the best life, by dying and denying yourself. God bless and have a wonderful week.